Alright, we rolling. Shalom. Hey, once again, all praises to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakapadash.
So, I mean, there's a lot that we can get into as usual. What is it? So-called Mother's Day is coming up?
Yeah, with that tomorrow.
I guess Sunday. So, that's a spirit that people are typically under here in Babylon. Celebrating these various pagan holidays. You get your precept earlier speaking. These various pagan holidays that have nothing to do with the Bible. So it's like, why do they have a designated day to celebrate your mother? You know what I'm saying? That should be the question that people should ask themselves. But the answer is that this place is just being utilized to make money off of people. You know what I'm saying? That's a capitalist society. But yeah, why does it gotta be one day? It could be every day that you honor your mother or even your father. Because the Bible does speak about honoring your mother and your father. You know what I'm saying? But as for like making a designated day for it, you know what I'm saying? There being the expectation that you have to do something for your mother or your father that day, it's really just mind control. You got a precept?
Yeah. I'm going to start at the 27th verse. This is Leviticus 18 and 27. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. That the land spew not you out also, when ye defile it, as it spew out the nations that were before you. For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the souls that commit them shall be cut off from among their people. Therefore shall ye keep mine ordinance, that ye commit not any one of these abominable customs, which were committed before you, and that ye defile not yourselves therein. I am the Lord Yahweh, your power.
Yeah, abominable customs. So, as for following the other nations' gods, there's things that you have to do. Whether it be sacrificing to their god, or whether it be putting on a certain type of apparel. Remember how it speaks about in the Apocrypha that during the Greek Empire, the Israelites were forced to wear a hat on their head, a head covering. So that's a custom of the other nations. There's also a custom that the Elamites have. It's actually where you get dreadlocks from, where they twist up their hair and they let it knot up and lock in. Hence why you got dreadlock. So that's actually a custom from the Elamites, which are so-called Indian people today, that Jake likes to partake in, especially these Rastas, Benjaminites.
Yeah, the Rastas, they make like a whole religion out of it.
Yeah, they twist up their hair. They used to twist up their hair because they believed that it was harboring energy for them to worship their god, Shiva. I believe that's the name of the god. So that's a custom of another nation right there that we have no business partaking in.
You got something? That was it. I got something right here. I googled is Mother's Day a pagan holiday? It says the pagan origins of Mother's Day dates back to the ancient Greeks during their yearly spring festival that paid tribute to maternal goddesses. In Greek mythology, a key figure was Rhea, wife of Cronus, who was the mother of various gods and goddesses.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
That was it.
And that's a vibration that the society promotes, is that mother goddess spirit.
Just woman worship, queen,
Yeah,
mother worship.
Mother goddess, queen worship. So that's a spirit that a lot of men that are without the father in their household, that's a spirit that they're under. Because all they really know for the most part is that feminism vibration, that's that spirit. They don't get that balance of a masculine spirit.
You see, they be rocking that the piece with the Queen Nefertiti head.
It's always the Jakes that grew up with just their mother only that talk about like, that's your mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I would do this, that, and everything for my mother. You know what I'm saying? My mama's boy, that mama's boy spirit, that baby boy spirit. You know what I'm saying? But that's not really the spirit for a man to be under. You're supposed to have a masculine energy about you.
Right.
You're not supposed to be a beta. You're supposed to be an alpha.
So it really, like the niggas that be calling just women queens, like just any woman is a queen, those would be the niggas that be raised by their mothers.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Luke 21. Actually, Luke 1 and 2.
This is Luke chapter 1. I'll start at the top. It says, for as much as many have taken in hand to set forth in order of a declaration of those things which are most surely believed among us, even as they delivered them unto us, which from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word. It seemed good to me also, having had perfect understanding of all things, from the very first to write unto thee in order, most excellent Theophilus, that thou mightest.
Yeah. So it's good to have a good balanced understanding of everything if you can. You know what I'm saying? Because it helps you navigate within this world so that you could get around all the trickery and so that you don't fall into a lot of these traps in society. You know what I'm saying? Like you might have like a woman you're dealing with. You might even have a child with her, right? And then so-called Mother's Day comes around, and then she's seeing all her other peers, her so-called friends or woman friends, is doing something on that particular day, or being celebrated or worshipped. You know what I'm saying? And then she might get jealous and be like, well, why isn't my man treating me like this on this day? You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of stuff you got to deal with in this world.
The thing is, it's like here in Babylon, people just want praise for doing nothing. Like, people celebrate their birthdays. What did you have to do with you being born? Like, what is it to celebrate? Same thing with Mother's Day. Like, what is there to really celebrate?
Yeah, and then that's birthdays. That's another pagan worship that goes back to the Greeks.
All right.
So there's nothing new under the sun. But I mean, can you acknowledge your birthday? Yeah, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when people start going all out and expect people to do something for them on that particular day, that's when you're coming off as if you want to be worshipped.
Yeah.
Like that's just man worshiping, or women worshiping at that point.
Right. Set up whole photo shoots just for your birthday.
Yeah, women be doing that.
Men do it too.
Like that's just doing too much. So like I said, I mean, if you want to acknowledge your birthday, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? If you want to have yourself a cup of wine or whatever, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just like the spirit and vibration that people are under is what makes it go to that level where it's just out of control. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like my birthday can roll around. I can do whatever I want, really. But I already know, like, I don't have that preconceived notion that it's my birthday and you know this is what we do. We gotta get litty on our birthday. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But typically, it's just another regular day for me. Right?
I got something.
Like pretty much every day that I live is what I would do on any day. That's a so-called holiday in this society. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Christmas rolls around, I'm doing whatever,
Right.
doing what I normally do. You know what I'm saying?
My so-called birthday lands on a Tuesday. I'm doing what I was gonna do any other Tuesday. Going, taking my ass to work, going home, like it's just a regular day. I got
And then it's like we all treat ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I don't gotta wait till a specific day to treat myself.
Just people want to go all out because it's your birthday, and you're going off at that point. This is Job chapter 3. I'll start at the top. It says, after this opened Job his mouth and cursed his day. The day Job was born, he was cursing it.
Yeah.
It says, and Job spake and said, let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night in which it was said, there is a man child conceived. Let that day be darkness, let not the Most High regard it from above, neither let the light shine upon it.
So Job said that he wished he was never born. Because ever since the day he was born, it's been pain. Nothing but pain. And it's like that for us today. That's how we feel. So
Said,
life isn't really the way that we would like it to be right now in this world. But that's why we have hope in the kingdom.
but that's what you talked about. That's the bitter herbs right there. Like when you come into this truth, it's sweet at first, but then there's the bitter. Like what is there to celebrate here?
Like the sweet part is that we're gonna get all the glory, the riches, the praise, the power. That's sweet. But what's bitter is the fact that we gotta endure in this captivity.
Right.
The fact that we're behind enemy lines every day is vexing and draining.
Said, let darkness and the shadow of death stain it. Let a cloud dwell
Alright.
upon it.
How you doing?
Let the blackness of the day terrify it. That's the point. You get the point. So really, your birthday is really nothing to celebrate when you have the true understanding. Like we was put here to serve punishment, not here to rejoice.
Like I said, man, I live every day predominantly the same.
Yeah, I got a routine.
I embrace monotony. You know what I'm saying? I'm not out here chasing that next thrill. I'm trying to get praise from my so-called peers.
This is Exodus chapter 23, verse 2. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment.
Yeah, thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. So, don't follow the crowd. Don't follow these various trends.
It is a saying, if everybody's doing it, it's probably not the thing to do. Even like when you're in this truth, and I know brothers out there can agree, it's like even when you don't celebrate your birthdays or other people's birthdays and stuff like that, your family can still know it, but what they're gonna do, call you or text you and tell you happy birthday. And it's just like, you just say thank you and that's it. Like you don't gotta make a big deal out of it, like, oh, I don't celebrate birthdays no more. Stop telling me that. It's just, you just say thank you and keep it moving.
Yeah.
I do the same thing, like when people tell me like, oh, Merry Christmas or Happy New Year, I just be like, same to you. And that's it. Just keep it pushing. You don't got to make a big deal out of it. Ultimately, they just wasn't meant to get it. That was the point.
No, that was an excellent point. Valid point.
Switch gears a little bit. I was reading this earlier. One of the brothers, I forgot what camp it was. I want to say Dallas brought it out. This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, verse 13 in the GNT. It says, "So set your house in order, warn your people, comfort those who are humble, and teach those who are wise. Then say goodbye to this mortal life."
Yeah, so you see how those traits of personality remain in order for a person to be very receptive to the truth?
Yeah, there's a certain way you can tell, like, there's a certain way that somebody carries himself, like then if you tell them, they might get the word. You know, they might understand what it is you're saying. And ultimately might come into the fold. But these are just certain characteristics that the elect would have, you know, humble, wise. You know, a nigga that's all caught up in celebrating their birthday and taking photo shoots on their birthday, they're not gonna get this understanding.
9 times out of 10, they're not.
Right. They too caught up. When you do stuff like that, you're too caught up in the world.
That's called self-aggrandizement.
Right.
People that are so full of themselves.
I think the world revolves around them. It says, "Put earthly cares away from you. Throw down your human burdens and lay aside your weak human nature." For example, you know, like people, like first of the month, you might be stressing because you can't make rent. You know, that's like the human nature. You know, that's the cares of this world. You know, put those things aside. Don't worry about it. You know, put all your faith into Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai.
And then naturally, assuming if you're in your right mind, that's something that would stress a person out.
Right.
So that's why some people can't really come into this truth because they be so concerned about making it in a society and making ends meet. They be like, well, how is God helping me now? You know what I'm saying?
This ain't paying my bills.
Yeah. Remember what Kanye said about God?
Yeah.
He said that I was praying to God, I was praying to Jesus. It came a point in time where I just had to do things for myself.
I had to take matters into my own hands.
Because Jesus wasn't answering back.
Right.
That's what he said. So,
Of course.
So gee, I wonder why.
Jesus isn't even a real person. You expected an answer for something that's not even real.
That's not even the real name.
It says, "Put earthly cares away from you. Throw down your human burdens and lay aside your weak human nature. Put all your anxieties aside and get ready to leave this world quickly. You have seen many evil things already, but far worse things are about to happen."
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is speaking about now. This is speaking about the last days. So this is a future prophecy that's getting ready to fall upon this society. I mean, you think it's ugly now? I mean, you think times is hard now? This chapter in this verse is saying that it's going to get worse.
It says, "As the world grows older and weaker, the evils that will come upon its people will multiply."
Yeah, the world has grown older and weaker. I mean, look at the environment that we live in. They got, what do they call, PFAS?
The stuff that's in like the plastics.
Yeah,
and
the
all
forever chemicals.
Yeah, forever.
They say that that's all around us. Pretty much, that's in things that we consume.
Everything is said.
Yeah. Look at the air quality.
Even Esau society, like people are going broke. Like your dollar doesn't get you what it used to get you in days of old. You know, this whole thing is crumbling all around about. All the walls are falling in this place.
Additionally, they say that we're not even getting the right amount of nutrition we're supposed to get out of food nowadays because the soil is so depleted.
You gotta take all these supplements with your food. Your food is supposed to do enough.
Yeah. And that's what happens when you don't follow the land Sabbath.
Just irradiated the whole, that's the word, irradiated the soil. Now it's not as nutrient rich as it used to be.
Yeah, and when you think about how farms are, you got acres and acres of land. So let's say that you are swapping out the soil. That's more than likely not even a practical thing to do, or even a feasible thing to do. To swap out the entire ground, soil, on however many acres that you have.
It says, truth will depart and falsehood will draw ever near. And how true is that? How many people really know that they're Hebrew Israelites and really accept it and understand what it is they're dealing with?
Yeah, and to touch on the land Sabbath, that's why that's a thing. Where when you're a gardener and you're planting, you're not supposed to keep using the same soil. You're supposed to put like some mulch in there, mix up the soil so that there's more nutrients within the soil. And you can make your own soil where say you have banana peels and mango peels or whatever fruit peels that you eat. What you do is you put it all together and it ferments in the ground, and then next thing you know, come springtime, that's when it's ready to be used on your crop. So all things that come up out of the earth has to get put back into the earth. It's a balance.
It's compost.
Yeah, it's compost.
It says, truth will depart and falsehood will draw ever near.
So the balance of this world is being sold down the line for capitalist gain.
Falsehood will draw ever near. He can be she can be he. You can do anything you want here.
Yeah.
And you go, and the thing is, here in America, the wickedness goes on and nobody wants to say anything because, they don't want the energy, they don't want to be canceled or whatever have you. So everybody just lets the wickedness go on. And the wickedness went on for so long without nobody saying anything, it's just gotten so bad. I remember when I was younger, there was such thing as shame. You were ashamed to do certain things. You wouldn't do certain things because oh, nah, I can't have this getting back to such and such, or my family hear about this. It's like shame isn't really a thing anymore. And that's why the world, it just got worse and worse.
Yeah, like I'll give you an example. You see people wearing see-through clothes nowadays, these women. They think that that's trendy. But when you do the research, you know where that comes from? Where that originates from? It comes from ancient Egypt.
Everything that's terrible about this place always comes from ancient Egypt or Rome. Like I was like, what is the origins of makeup? Ancient Egypt. Like everything just comes from Egypt. All this wicked shit.
Yeah, and the custom of not having facial hair if you're a man, that comes from Egypt. That's why in these certain fields where people work, they require you to have a clean shave. You know what I'm saying? But how is having a beard or facial hair going to hinder anything when it comes to your job?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What their intent is, it is to keep our people in sin, and then for us to not knowingly follow other nations' customs.
Right. Said as the world grows older and weaker, the evils that will come upon its people will multiply. Truth will depart and falsehood will draw ever nearer. The eagle you saw in your vision is just about to arrive. That's the point. Yeah, that was the point.
Hosea 1 and 10.
This is Hosea chapter 1 verse 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered, and it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people. There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power.
So, America, Babylon the Great, is the place where you're told that you're everything underneath the sun, but Israelite. If you notice, going back in the day, we wasn't always called black or Native American. You ever watch those old films? It was called colored folks or Negro. So it's like every few decades, it seems like we're called by a different name. But it's like, how could you really be black when you look at your skin, you're brown? That's one thing I used to question when I was younger, when I was a child. I'd be like, how am I black? Why am I called black when I'm brown? I never understood that. So here we are, years later, I have the understanding as to why things are the way that they are. Why are we so marginalized and disenfranchised as a race of people? You know what I'm saying? They want to call us African American. All right, cool. Let's go with that hypothetically. So what part of Africa are you from originally? Where did the slave ships get you from? A lot of so-called African Americans don't even know that. So how could you really claim that you're African? Not to mention, African is a name after a discoverer. What was his name? Leo Africanus or something like that?
Amerigo Vespucci.
Yeah, that's the guy that named America. But there's another guy that named Africa. Either way, the point is, those are man-made names. That's not an identity or nationality that comes from the Bible. Every person on this earth has a nationality according to the Bible.
Black. That's a nationality. Black. Because people in the world, like, they think that the origins of so-called black people is slavery. They don't think nothing came before that. It's just slavery. That's where everything started at. Well, there had to be something before that, right? What was before that? It was the people up on the sign right here, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. We are the chosen people of the Most High.
Yeah, so-called blacks come from glory. And that goes for the so-called Latin men, Latin women, and Native Americans.
And it ain't hard to tell. You can see it on them. See it on us. I got something real quick. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord Yahweh shall lead thee.
Yeah. A proverb and a byword. That's why we have all these labels. These empty labels that don't even identify us from who we really are.
It's just part of the cursing.
The new thing now is Latinx. What does Latinx mean?
Afro-Latino?
Yeah, because they're trying to make up for that diaspora. Because you know how you got so-called Negroes, and then you got the so-called Tainos, and you got even so-called Europeans that were in that region of South America and the Caribbean. And that's why they came up with that label Latinx, to cover the grounds for all those, I guess you could say, groups of people that merged.
I'm going to read Hosea 1 and 10 again. It says, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea. And real quick, like there's different colors of sand. You got, that tan color sand, you got black sand, you got pink sand, you got white sand. So that means, that also goes to prove to you that the Israelites aren't just so-called Negroes. It'll be the Latinos and Native Americans And you'll have Israelites that look like other nations, that could look like a so-called white person, and whole time throughout, if you do the lineage, you go all the way back, which none of us can do. They could go back to a so-called Negro, or you say they go back to Judah, or Levi, or Gad, or Reuben, or Issachar. You don't know for sure. That's why you got to try the spirit with the spirit. It's not wise to just look at somebody and just because they look like an Edomite, you just write them off as an Edomite.
That's what a lot of camps out there do.
Right. You got somebody
look at a person, a so-called Caucasian, and be like, oh, you're an Edomite.
Right.
How do you even know that for sure?
Like when they have they have an Edomite at the camp and they have them kiss their boot, that could be an Israelite. Because the Edomite's pride is too high to ever do some shit like that. So for all you know, you could have had an Israelite kissing your boot. What do you think the Lord's gonna do to you for that? Yeah, so.
Yeah, Jeremiah 17:4.
This is Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever.
So this was a prophecy that was fulfilled. So us losing the knowledge of our identity is biblical prophecy.
You got Esau and Amalek, they hijacked it. They tried to take it as for their own. Totally remixing certain scriptures, and they call themselves the people. But like the Hasidic Jews, they say that oh yeah.
See what they do in the camp.
Right. Those people, they say you're an Israelite depending on your mother's bloodline, not your father's. And that's totally just remixing the scriptures.
Yeah, you are what your father is.
Right. I'm gonna read it again. This is Jeremiah 17:4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departed from the Lord Yahweh.
Yeah, cursed be the man that trusts in man. So many of our people out here, like we was going into earlier, they just follow the trends of this society. Following what the next person is doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you should really just be concerned about yourself and what's going to be beneficial for you at the end of the day. And what that is the knowledge and the truth of the Bible.
Because man trusting in man, if that other man that you're trusting doesn't know the ways of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, he's going to cause you to go off. That's why it says the elect shall not be deceived. Because why? We don't trust in man. We trust in the scriptures. Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. And he's not going to contradict himself. So that's why, like when you watching another camp's video or somebody's video to see what they're saying, off top, you could be like, oh yeah, they're going off. Because it contradicts the scriptures. It has nothing to do with them personally. It's just, oh nah, he ain't right because he's going against the scriptures. He's contradicting himself. And the Lord, it doesn't work like that. But when you're trusting in man and the way he had his speeches and his tonality and his charisma and his personality, when you falling for that and you taking heed to that and not the word, you gonna go off. Read it again.
Yeah, you even got to be wary of people that claim that they're Israelites, that know that they're Israelites. You know what I'm saying? Don't just take everybody's word I'm saying? You gotta try the spirit. You might like how a person looks outwardly, or how they, the way that they're dressed, how their garment looks, or their style and cadence in the way that they teach. But what if that's just a disguise? You gotta examine their doctrine.
Right. That the doctrine will always tell you if somebody's in the right spirit or not. Every time. Every time. Because Jeremiah 17:5 says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord Yahweh. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land, and not inhabited. Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord Yahweh, and whose hope the Lord Yahweh is." Yeah, and Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai is our hope. We're not putting our trust and our faith in Esau Edom society. We really wanted to crash down and tumble and burn.
Yeah, we can't wait. Sooner the better.
Right.
There's not a day that goes by where I don't think about that.
I pray on it. You had something? Unless you want to continue. We can just
No. Isaiah 7:1. Actually, start at 1 and then jump down to the 8th verse.
This is Hosea chapter 7 and 1. This is Hosea chapter 7, verse 1. "When I would have healed Israel, then the iniquity of Ephraim was discovered." And
Yeah, so that's speaking about the northern kingdom Israelites. Because the two kingdoms, which were originally one, it was all united. They split into two. You had northern kingdom and southern kingdom. So Ephraim is considered to be the head of the northern kingdom, which would be so-called Puerto Ricans today. Which makes sense because they were the first ones over here in America. So-called Latin people, Latino people, outside of Issachar. You know what I'm saying? But you had the great migration from the island of Puerto Rico, and a lot of so-called Puerto Ricans made their way to the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. You got them in a lot of places, everywhere really.
that's why in the hood, Jake and Esau, they like two peas in a pod. They locked in.
Yeah.
But that's spiritual.
Yeah, and since the very early ages of the inception of hip hop, Ephraim played a hand in that. They was the breakdancers. So Ephraim and Judah, Ephraim and Jake, there's a misconception that we're not cool with each other or that we're not united. But when you go through various hoods around America, you're always gonna see, so-called Puerto Ricans and so-called Black Americans, tight with each other. They're cool with each other. You know what I'm saying? That's because we're the same people.
My grandpa, he was telling me a story. I remember when I was younger, I didn't know nothing about the truth. I just thought it was interesting. He was telling a story of how when he went to school, and mind you, my grandpa was born in the 40s, and he was saying how at the lunch table, him and this other kid at the table, he was Puerto Rican, and the kid pulled out tripe and started eating it at lunch. And my grandfather told him, he was like, "What you know about that?" And this, and they was like, "We eat this all the time." So that goes to show you how, Jake and Judah and Ephraim, how they always been, locked in, close together. Judah being the head of the southern kingdom and Ephraim being head of the northern kingdom.
Yeah, but the separation is that we're not under the same lines. We're not under the same idea that we are the Israelites. You know what I'm saying? We got to get rid of these these labels and these titles and these false names. What we really are is Israelites from a particular tribe. And that's the understanding that most of our people are lacking. All we know though is that we cool with each other, you know, we get along. But when it comes to like naming our nationalities, like yeah, I'm Puerto Rican, or yeah, I'm African American, I'm black, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I'm Cuban, you know what I'm saying? Those are just man-made constructs that we put on us throughout time.
Yeah, your oppressor put those names on you so he could sow discord among the tribes.
Exactly.
This is Hosea chapter 7, verse 1. It says, when I would have healed Israel, then the iniquity of Ephraim was discovered.
Oh, and also you got the language barrier. You know, the so-called Latino people, they speak Spanish, obviously. So that could be something that stops us from connecting to certain degrees. The language barrier.
It says, and the wickedness of Samaria for the commit of falsehood, for they commit falsehood, and the thief cometh in, and the troop of robbers spoileth without.
Yeah, so Samaria is the land mass that's in the land of Ephraim. Let's remember, this is speaking about Ephraim.
It said, jump down to the 8th verse.
Yep.
This is Hosea chapter 7, verse 8. It says, Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned.
Yep, and that's going into what you said earlier, how when we read Hosea, you know, how the children of Israel be like the sand of the sea. And you mentioned earlier how there's various colors of sand. You know what I'm saying? So our people from all these tribes are going to come in different shades and all different colors.
Speaking all different languages.
Different shades of brown. And then, you know, you ever see the Puerto Rican, they look like they're white, but they're really Puerto Rican. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, some of them, yeah.
Yeah, some of them.
It says, strangers have devoured his strength, and he knoweth it not. Gray hairs are here and there upon him, yet he knoweth not. And the pride of Israel testifieth to his face, and they do not return to the Lord Yahweh their power, nor seek him for all this.
Yeah. And if you notice, you have the hardest time trying to convert a so-called Latin tribe person. You have the hardest time because you gotta remember, they was oppressed longer than Jake was over here in America. Like they was oppressed before, because that's the first place where they hit was South America and the Caribbean, and then they made their way up to North America. You know what I'm saying? So they've been indoctrinated longer.
Especially if you add in the language barrier there.
Exactly. You know, you go inside of the Spanish person's house, local Spanish person's house, they're gonna have a picture of Caesar Borgia on the wall, and they're gonna swear that that's the Lord.
Jesus Cristo.
Yeah. So, you know, our people are under a curse. We're under a spell. And that's where we come in to dispel all these lies.
You know, 10 tribes, they'll have a whole shrine in their house for a Caesar Borgia. They have the picture up with the candles lit, the Bible open to certain verse with the rosary beads. They go all out.
So that's, you know, that's part of the idols that our people are joined unto.
So Hosea 7 and 11 says, Ephraim also is like a silly dove without heart. They call to Egypt, they go to Assyria. When they shall go, I will spread my net upon them. I will bring them down as the fowls of the heaven. I will chastise them as their congregation hath heard.
Yeah, so the Lord said he was going to punish Ephraim for his iniquity and his transgression.
It says, woe unto them, for they have fled from me, destruction unto them, because they have transgressed against me. Though I have redeemed them, yet they have spoken lies against me. And they have not cried unto me with their heart. When they howled upon their beds, they assembled themselves for corn and wine, and they rebelled against me. Though I have bound and strengthened their arms, yet do they imagine mischief against me. They return, but not to the Most High. They are like a deceitful bow. Their princes shall fall by the sword for the rage of their tongue. This shall be their derision in the land of Egypt.
The derision in the land of Egypt. And that's going into today.
That's it, okay? You got something?
No.
Let's go to Galatians. This is Galatians chapter 5. I'll start at the 11th verse. 10th verse. Galatians 5 and 10. It says, I have confidence in you through the Lord, that ye will be none otherwise minded. But he that troubleth you shall bear his judgment, whosoever he be. And I, brethren, if I yet preach circumcision, why do I yet suffer persecution? Then is the offense of the cross ceased. I would they were even cut off which troubled me. For brethren, ye have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another.
So, pretty much, this is Paul addressing how many of our people would fall away from the truth and how we have to be brought back into the circumcision. Okay? And we just read earlier in Hosea chapter 7 how Ephraim and the 10 tribes will go following after other gods and following other customs. And it just so happens that a lot of people from the islands, even the Latinos, so-called Latinos, many of them aren't circumcised because that's a Roman Catholic custom or practice. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why they do that.
It says, for all the law is fulfilled in one word.
So they was probably doing that back then. You know what I'm saying? Israelite foreigners. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't getting circumcised. That's why Paul was bringing it up. Like, yeah, just because they're not circumcised physically doesn't mean that they can't ever be circumcised physically or spiritually. You know what I'm saying?
Circumcised in the spirit.
Yeah. But that's how high-minded some of the jakes were that were in the knowledge. They didn't really want nothing to do with the Israelite foreigners. The Israelites that were in the Gentiles for the month.
Right.
It was like, nah, don't bring them up in this congregation. Don't bring them up in
Get
this
them out of
church.
the temple.
We don't need them. You know what I'm saying? But the whole point of the gospel is to bid the Most High's elect to the marriage. So we were all Gentiles at one point. We was all Gentiles in the mind. You know what I'm saying? We didn't always know we was Israelites. But that doesn't demean the fact that we have a right to our heritage. Revelation 21, whatever. I think it was no, Revelation 14. I think it speaks about the 144,000. What chapter? 14. It speaks about the 144,000. They're supposed to have 12,000 from each tribe. So that means that you're gonna have so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that are gonna come together. But there's that preconceived notion that we're different races of people, but really we're the same.
It's actually the 7th chapter of it. 7th, Revelation 7.
Really?
144,000, yeah. This is Galatians chapter 5, verse 14. For all the law is fulfilled in one word. Even in this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. And it's not talking about just the whole world. It's talking about your soul, your Israelite brother.
After that, get Revelation 14.
It says, but if ye bite and devour one another, take heed that ye be not consumed one of another. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would.
So when you come into the truth, you're under a different spirit, better vibration.
Because in this world, it's like you could be tugged. Your flesh can just be tugging at you because there's just so much wickedness and everything around you. But to stay, where you need to be and get to where you need to go,
you gotta stay in the spirit.
Gotta stay in the spirit. There's so much folly in the TV and the music, and just in your average dealings with people around you.
The
women, you could go off. How many men fall out the truth because of a woman? Yeah, but that's because you're walking in the flesh and not the spirit.
Yeah, the Bible says that many have gone out of their wits before they moved. Really, that's speaking about doctrine and philosophies. If you're gonna apply that to the physical realm of romance with women,
Said Revelation 14.
Yep.
Start at the top.
Yep.
This is Revelation chapter 14, verse 1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Sion, and with him 144 and 4,000 having his father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps.
So, the 144,000 consists of the governing body of the nation of Israel, which is all men, by the way. And it spoke about how the knowledge of the Father is going to be still within their foreheads, right? So the Lord, no matter what, He's going to have His elect that are redeemed and delivered. It's always been set up that way since the foundation of the earth, since the beginning of time.
It says, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the 4 beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144 and 4,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These
redeemed from the earth. So, like I said before, the 144,000 is going to consist of the governing body. So they're going to have like first dibs on a lot of stuff in the kingdom, man. They're going to have the best access to land and resources, I would imagine.
First dibs. And it says, and the elders and no man could learn that song. And the reason they couldn't learn this song is ultimately because they didn't have the Holy Spirit. That's what gives you the understanding. That's how you understand the song. Because it's dark sayings, things written in parables. If you just read it to somebody, it's just gonna go way over their head. You need the Holy Spirit to understand it.
But ultimately, the entire nation of Israel is going to receive salvation in the kingdom. You know, it's not just going to be towards the 144,000. You know, every Israelite is going to be straight because they're going to be living good and lavish.
Right. You're not gonna see Jake bugged out, smoking on a cigarette butt,
Yeah, on the train somewhere.
asking people for spare change.
And in order to get the fuel and the parts for the train to operate, Jake or the other nation is going to have to go to work to keep the trains running and stuff like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's not going to be like that. Like, picture it like this. The way society runs, or the way that the world runs right now, is going to be different in the kingdom. It's going to pretty much go back to how it was in the ancient ones. You're not going to have tires that are being manufactured for cars that we're going to be driving in the kingdom.
Right.
Oh man, I got a flat tire. I gotta go to the tire shop, bro. You can give me a ride. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, yeah, you got your jack? I forgot my jack. I don't got it on me. I gotta change my tire. You know what I'm saying? Breaking down in the kingdom.
That's shit. That's little shit that just vexes you here. I can't imagine that being in the kingdom.
You gotta still pay $100 for a gallon of gas in the kingdom. Oh man. You see, going back into what we were saying earlier about how the earth is not balanced, part of the reason why the earth is not balanced is because of capitalism. So these various oil companies are so busy mining gas and other resources that has to do with fueling the economy of cars. It throws the environment out of whack. Why do you think there's so many earthquakes? Because they keep mining up the oil.
Revelation 14:3 says, "And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts, and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with woman, for they are virgins. They are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto the Most High and of the Lamb." You know, the Lamb being Yahushua. And when it's talking about defiled with woman, it's not talking about, physical, counterpart, women. It's talking about the philosophies and doctrines.
And notice how it said the first fruits. So the elect 144,000 are going to be the first fruits in the kingdom of heaven. So that's going to be bragging rights, really, if you're a part of that number.
Right. You go into another land, it's like, oh, he's one of them.
He's part of the 144,000.
Right.
When you think about that, you really can't make yourself up the elect 144,000. Right. You're either the 144,000 or you're not, because it was predestined for you to be that.
They go into another land, they're gonna see that crown on your head, oh, he's one of them. But I meditate on certain things like that. Like I don't say it like in scripture because I don't know it to be true. I feel like other people, like when they come back in the kingdom after they had to be destroyed here in America, they might have a crown too. But the 144,000, their crown is probably gonna look amazing, glorious. They might have rubies and sapphires and all kind of stuff in their crown. It's gonna be amazing. This is the last verse right here. This is Revelation 14:5. It says, "And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of the Most High." That's it on them.
Get Revelation 18:6.
This is Revelation chapter 18, verse 6. "Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works." in the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrows give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow.
So this is speaking about Babylon, aka America. And America has gotten rich and glorious off the dispense at the dispense of other people. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord power who judgeth her. Continue.
So this place has a judgment that's getting ready to happen. And it's gonna be when those missiles get launched. ICBM missiles. And also when the chariots crack the skies when Yahushua makes his second return. So you got a precept you wanna close up on?
This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 10. I'll start at the 19th verse. They that fear the Lord are a sure seed, and they that love him an honorable plant. They that regard not the law are a dishonorable seed. They that transgress the commandments are a deceivable seed. Among brethren, he that is chief is honorable. So are they that fear the Lord in his eyes. The fear of the Lord goeth before the obtaining of authority, but the roughness and pride is the losing thereof. Because there's a reason why the 144,000 are going to be, of that governing body. We'll read it again. Says the fear of the Lord goeth before the obtaining of authority. Because look at the leadership now. Esau, Edom, they don't fear the Lord. So that's why they don't follow the land Sabbath, like you said. You could do anything you want here. You commit adultery, eat pork. He could be she could be he. You could do whatever you want here. That's because the righteous aren't in authority. But when the righteous are in authority, starting with Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, King David, and then the 144,000, the world is going to be better off because we're going to be the righteous judges.
Finish that real quick, man. Get Hosea 3 and 4.
Says whether he be rich, noble, or poor, their glory is the fear of the Lord. Exactly, and that's our glory. The law, statutes, and commandments, coming out here on the highways and byways, just doing what it is the Lord told us to do. And in the end, we'll be rewarded.
Yeah, and also, us knowing who we really are.
Right.
Knowing that we come from a royal people.
Says, it is not meet to despise the poor man that hath understanding. Neither is it convenient to magnify a sinful man. And that's what they do here in Babylon. You get praised for your wickedness.
All these rappers.
Yeah, right.
Influence the minds of the youth.
Face tats, fingernails painted, gun on their head. Through. We can end it there.
Get Hosea 3 and 4 and that's why.
Hosea This is Hosea chapter 3, verse 4. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice.
That's how we living today. That's how we living right now.
And without an image, and without an ephod, and without a teraphim. Going to that one.
What? Ephod?
Yeah.
Now that's the ancient garment that the Levites used to wear with the stones on it.
Okay.
I believe so. But fact check it.
Yeah, you're right. That's right. Read it again. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without a teraphim. Afterwards shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord Yahweh their power, and David their king, and shall fear the Lord Yahweh and his goodness in the latter days.
So we are living in the latter days. These are the last days. Really, this is like the end of the end. Like,
Yeah.
we're so close to salvation. We're so close to the destruction of this place. And it's evident when you watch the news.
That's it.
So with that, we're going to close. Shalom.
Shalom.